That boy has got to stay on top. Gonna keep on rocking. One day he's gonna make it to the top and be a jukebox hero.
Wow, someone loves the Tour of Utah.
Rock on!
You're tuned into the VeloNews Show. I'm Fred Dreyer here with Spencer Paulison. Spencer, this past week we had the Larry H. Miller Tour of Utah, North America's hardest race. A race that combines soaring mountain climbs with thin mountain air and always produces really tight, exciting racing.
Fred, this year I'd say they got 2 out of those 3 things. The GC race was pretty much dominated by one man.
That's right, Sepp Kuss of Team Lotto NL Jumbo completely dominated the Tour of Utah. He won 3 stages, took the overall, and just whenever the road went up, he dropped everyone, including all of Team EF Education First, BMC, all his rivals. Sepp Kuss, untouchable.
He looked amazing, and it made me think of our old magazine that we put out on him earlier this year. Would you look at that, Fred? Climb like Sepp Kuss. You think we could read this thing and figure out how to climb like that?
Sorry guys, I think all of the training in the world will not get you to climb like Sepp Kuss.
Dang it, I need better genetics.
That's true. Well, the Tour of Utah is a really compelling race. It's been around 13 seasons, and this year it makes up a great block of racing in August as we have the Colorado Classic coming right on the heels, giving North American racers 2 different races to test their legs against the World Tour guys, and the World Tour racers a chance to prepare for the Vuelta a España. But here's the thing. This August block of racing, it's proven to be really challenging for North American races to survive in this time slot.
That's right, Fred. It's kind of an awkward time of the year, and we've seen a number of races come and go. We saw the Tour of Missouri. It only lasted about 3 years before going away. That was more in the September timeframe. And then, of course, the USA Pro Challenge, which is sort of the predecessor to the Colorado Classic. Well, that one died after about 5 years. And most recently, last year, the Tour of Alberta, gone after 5 years as well. So it's a tough road to hoe for these races in August.
Here's the thing though, the Tour of Utah has been around for 13 years and it's managed to succeed for a couple different reasons. The first reason, it keeps the overhead low. That's right, the budget for race management is about $4.5 to $5 million. May seem like a lot of money, but within the context of putting on a bike race, that's pretty small. Amgen Tour of California, by contrast, well over $10 million.
You know, the interesting thing as well is they take a long view of how to run this race. They're not afraid to take a step back from time to time if financials aren't permitting them to run the race to the fullest extent. In fact, in 2007, they actually canceled the Tour of Utah. And then they came back in 2008, didn't miss a beat.
So this week we have the Colorado Classic coming right on the heels of the Tour of Utah. Now this race is a completely different animal entirely because the race blends bike racing with a rock concert. That's right, they hold the bike race before the rock concert. They sell tickets for both, generate revenue, try to bring in fans outside of bike racing. First year reviews were a little bit mixed.
Ooh. Brutal headline.
Brutal. We're gonna be out there though, and I have a lot of ambitions for this race. You know, you take racers, put them in Colorado, there's some great climbs, there's a women's race as well.
That's right, there are 4 days of women's racing, which is certainly more than you can say for Tour of Utah, which unfortunately doesn't have any professional women's racing. But the Colorado Classic, we are hoping that it finds its stride and is successful as it is in its 2nd year now. And I think that one of the big things about it is it would do well if it could expand a little more and become a longer race to match the Tour of Utah.
I'd love to see 2 separate week-long races back-to-back in the Rocky Mountains to give the North American guys something to focus on the way up, and the World Tour guys something to focus on their way to the Vuelta and the World Championships. So Spencer, one guy who's not going to be in Colorado, our Tour de France winner, Geraint Thomas. Let's check in on him. That beer looks delicious. So Geraint Thomas was given a hero's welcome in his hometown of Cardiff, Wales. Beforehand, he said he just expected his wife and the dog to show up, and 8,000 people showed up to cheer him on.
So modest. Come on.
That's true.
Come on.
Here's my question for you, though. Should Geraint Thomas continue with these hero beers, or should he get back on the bike and start training? I mean, Tour de France champion. He's got to defend his victory.
I would say, Fred, don't mess with success. He's done this for years now, where he kicks back with his friends and family in the off-season, lives a totally separate life based on the story that you wrote about him during the Tour de France. And I think that's good for Geraint Thomas. I think it helps him kick back and relax. And then he switches it on when it's time to race bikes.
Well, I think it's time for us to turn it on and go kick back and relax. Have
a pint with the lads, yes.
So for Spencer Paulison, I'm Fred Dreyer. Thanks for tuning into the VeloNews Show. Stay tuned to VeloNews.com. We'll see you next week.
Come alive tonight! is kind of the average rendition of that particular song.